I was sitting on my back porch in Scottsdale, watching the sunset paint the desert sky orange and pink, when my phone buzzed with a text from Sandra Chen, my bank manager. "Linda, I need you to come in first thing tomorrow morning. Very urgent. Please don't discuss this with anyone until we talk." My hands went cold despite the warm Arizona evening. Sandra had been handling my accounts for 12 years. She never used the word urgent lightly. I texted back immediately. "Is everything all right? Can you tell me what this is about?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "It's about the reverse mortgage funds. I've noticed some irregular activity. We need to talk in person. 9 a.m. tomorrow?" I barely slept that night. The reverse mortgage, that $180,000 I'd taken out on my paid-off house just 3 months ago. The money that was supposed to save my son-in-law Michael's life. Let me back up. I'm Linda Morrison, 62 years old, retired elementary school teacher. I spent 34 years shaping young minds in Phoenix public schools, raised my daughter Emily as a single mother after my husband passed when she was just 6. Emily was my whole world. Watching her grow into a compassionate, intelligent woman, earning her nursing degree, building her career, that was my greatest achievement. 2 years ago, Emily met Michael Caldwell at a hospital charity fundraiser. He was handsome, successful, charming. Worked in medical equipment sales, he said. Drove a nice car, wore expensive suits, always picked up the check. But more importantly, he treated Emily like a queen, brought her flowers every Friday, remembered every little thing she mentioned wanting. When he proposed after 8 months, I cried happy tears. "Mom, I've never been this happy," Emily told me the night he proposed, her engagement ring catching the light. "Michael is everything I've ever wanted. He's kind, he's stable, he takes care of me." I liked Michael. I really did. He called me every Sunday, asked about my week, my book club, my garden. He helped me install new kitchen cabinets without being asked. At their small wedding last October, I watched him look at my daughter like she hung the moon. And I thought, this is what I wanted for her. Security, love, partnership. The medical emergency happened in February. Emily called me at 7 in the morning, her voice shaking. "Mom, Michael collapsed at work. They rushed him to the ER. They're saying it's his heart. He needs surgery, Mom. Soon, like within weeks." My stomach dropped. "What kind of surgery?" "A valve replacement. The doctor says without it, he could have a massive heart attack at any time. But Mom," her voice broke, "our insurance is denying coverage. They're calling it a pre-existing condition because Michael had a heart murmur as a teenager. The surgery costs $175,000 out of pocket. We don't have that kind of money." I drove straight to the hospital. Michael looked pale, tired, hooked up to monitors. He smiled weakly when he saw me. "I'm sorry to worry everyone, Linda. I'll figure this out. Maybe we can get a loan. Or, Michael, your family," I said, taking his hand. "We'll figure this out together." Over the next week, I watched Emily fall apart. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. She'd already called every charity, every assistance program. Michael's company insurance was fighting them at every turn. The surgeon was very clear. Michael needed this surgery within 6 weeks, or the risks became catastrophic. "I have the house," I told Emily one evening. "It's paid off. I can take out a reverse mortgage." "Mom, no. That's your home, your security." "Emily, you're my daughter. Michael is your husband. What kind of mother would I be if I let him die when I could help?" I meant every word. The house was just a building. Emily's happiness, her husband's life that mattered more. I did my research. I wasn't stupid. I looked into reverse mortgages, talked to a financial advisor. I could take out $180,000 against the house's $340,000 value. I'd still own the home, could live there as long as I wanted. The loan wouldn't need to be repaid until I sold the house or passed away. It seemed like a solution. Michael protested, but weakly. "Linda, I can't let you do this. It's too much." "You're not letting me do anything," I said firmly. "I'm choosing to do this. You're going to have that surgery, and you're going to watch my grandchildren grow up someday. That's non-negotiable." The paperwork took 3 weeks. Michael's surgery was scheduled for March 15th. On March 8th, the $180,000 hit my account. I immediately transferred it to Emily and Michael's joint account for the hospital payment. The surgery went perfectly. Michael was released after 5 days. Emily was radiant with relief. "Mom, thank you. Thank you so much. You saved his life. We're going to pay you back, I promise. We've already talked to a lawyer about restructuring our finances. No rush, sweetheart. Just focus on Michael's recovery." But that's when things started feeling off. Small things at first. Michael, who'd been so warm and chatty before, became distant. He'd barely speak when I visited, always on his phone. Emily made excuses. "He's just exhausted from recovery, Mom. Surgery takes a lot out of you." Then Emily started canceling our weekly dinners. First 1 week, then 2, then 3. When I called, she sounded stressed, distracted. "Things are just crazy right now, Mom." Michael's follow-up appointments. "Work is insane. We're dealing with insurance appeals." In early May, I stopped by their apartment unannounced with soup. Emily answered the door, and I barely recognized her. She'd lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes. The apartment, usually tidy, was a mess. "Honey, what's going on?" I asked, alarmed. "Nothing, Mom. I told you, we're just busy." But she wouldn't meet my eyes. That's when I noticed Michael's car wasn't in the parking lot. It was 2 in the afternoon on a weekday. "Where's Michael? I thought he was still on medical leave." Emily's face went tight. "He had an appointment. Mom, I really need to get back to work. I'm working a double shift tonight." Something was very, very wrong. But when I tried to press, Emily practically pushed me out the door. "I'll call you later, okay? I love you." 2 weeks later came Sandra Chen's text message. I arrived at the bank at 8:55 a.m., my stomach in knots. Sandra's office door was already open. She stood when she saw me, her professional smile not reaching her eyes. "Linda, thank you for coming in. Please, sit down." She closed the door, pulled out a folder. "I need to ask you some questions about the reverse mortgage you took out in March. Specifically about the $180,000 withdrawal and transfer to an account held by Emily Morrison and Michael Caldwell." "Yes, it was for Michael's heart surgery. Is there a problem?" Sandra's expression shifted to something between pity and concern. "Linda, I flagged some activity on that account that concerned me, so I did some checking standard fraud prevention protocols. I need to show you something." She turned her computer screen toward me. Bank records. The $180,000 had hit Emily and Michael's account on March 8th, but instead of going to the hospital, it had been transferred out in multiple chunks over the next 3 days. $60,000 to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands, $40,000 to another account in Panama, $30,000 cash withdrawal, $25 wire transfer to Las Vegas. The rest scattered across cryptocurrency purchases. I stared at the screen, not comprehending. There must be a mistake. The money was for surgery. "Linda, I called Phoenix General Hospital. Michael Caldwell did have a procedure there on March 15th, but it wasn't a heart valve replacement. It was a routine cardiac ablation, an outpatient procedure. His insurance covered it completely. Total cost to the patient, $800 copay." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of Sandra's desk. "I don't understand." Emily said Michael needed the insurance denied. "There's more." Sandra's voice was gentle but firm. "I took the liberty of running a basic background check on Michael Caldwell. It's not usually something we do, but given the amount and the suspicious transfers, I felt it was warranted. Linda, Michael Caldwell isn't who you think he is." She slid a printed document across the desk. Court records from Nevada, California, and Oregon. Michael Caldwell, real name Marcus Caldwell Brennan, had been convicted of fraud in Nevada in 2014. Sentenced to 3 years, served 18 months. In 2018, he'd been sued in civil court in California by an ex-girlfriend's mother for $95,000 in a similar scheme. Fake medical emergency, borrowed money, disappeared. The case was settled out of court. In 2019, a woman in Portland had filed a restraining order, claiming Marcus had conned her out of her retirement savings by claiming he needed money for his dying mother's cancer treatment. The mother didn't exist. I couldn't breathe. But Emily, she knows him. They've been together for 2 years. She would have. The marriage license application lists his name as Michael Caldwell, no middle name. Your daughter may not know his full legal name. And Linda, there's one more thing. Sandra pulled out another paper. 3 days ago, Michael Caldwell opened a solo checking account at a different bank. He deposited $85,000 cash into it. The address he listed? An apartment in Tempe, not the address he shares with your daughter. I drove to Emily's apartment in a fog, knocked on the door. No answer. I used the emergency key she'd given me years ago. The apartment was half empty. Michael's things gone. His clothes, his laptop, his expensive watch collection. Emily's nursing textbooks were still on the shelf. But Michael's medical sales awards vanished. Emily came home an hour later and found me sitting on the couch. She froze when she saw me. "Mom, what are you doing here? Where's Michael?" Her face crumpled. He's been staying with a friend. We had a fight. Emily, we need to talk. I need to tell you something about Michael." "No." Her voice was sharp, almost panicked. "No, Mom. I know what you're going to say, and I don't want to hear it." "Sweetheart, please. I went to the bank today. The bank has no right to snoop into our accounts." Michael said this might happen. He said people might try to turn us against each other. "Emily, Michael isn't who he says he is. His real name is Marcus. He has a criminal record. He's done this before." "Stop it." Emily's face was red, tears streaming. "You've never liked him. You've been looking for reasons to break us up since day one. That's not true. Emily, please listen." "No, you listen. Michael told me you might do this, that you might try to sabotage our marriage because you can't stand not being the center of my life anymore. He said you're lonely and controlling, and I defended you. I told him you weren't like that. But here you are, making up crazy stories about criminal records and fake names. I'm not making this up. I have documents, court records, bank statements showing the money didn't go to any hospital." "Get out," Emily screamed. "Get out of my apartment. I don't want to see you right now. Maybe not ever." I left, sobbing so hard I had to pull over 3 times on the drive home. I called Emily 17 times over the next 2 days. She didn't answer. I sent text messages, emails, nothing. I went to her workplace, the pediatric unit at Phoenix Children's Hospital. The receptionist told me Emily had called in sick. For 3 days. On the 4th day, a text came through. "Mom, I need space. Please stop contacting me. Michael and I are working through some things, and your interference is making it worse. I love you, but I can't talk to you right now." I showed the documents to my sister Patricia. She called Emily. Emily hung up on her. Patricia sent the documents via email. Emily blocked her number. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd lost $180,000 and my daughter in the same month. My doctor prescribed sleeping pills. My book club friends tried to help, but what could they do? My daughter had chosen a con artist over me. 2 weeks into this nightmare, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. A woman's voice. "Is this Linda Morrison, the mother of Emily Caldwell?" "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Denise Huang. I'm calling from Sacramento. This is awkward, but I saw your daughter's wedding announcement in the newspaper archives while I was researching. Is she married to Michael Caldwell? About 6'2", dark hair, hazel eyes, worked in medical sales?" My heart rate spiked. "Yes." "Why?" "Because he married my daughter 3 years ago under the name Michael Brennan, and he did the exact same thing to our family." I drove to Sacramento the next day. Met Denise and her daughter Rachel at a coffee shop. Rachel was 32, a teacher, looked like she'd been through hell. "He told me he needed money for his father's Alzheimer's care," Rachel said, her voice hollow. "Showed me fake medical bills. My mom took out a loan against her house, $120,000. He took the money and disappeared. We found out later he'd been married the whole time to someone else in Nevada. Our marriage wasn't even legal." "Did you report it?" I asked. "We tried, but he was careful. All the money transfers were technically voluntary. We'd given him access to accounts. The police said it was a civil matter, not criminal. We sued, got a judgment, but he declared bankruptcy and vanished. We haven't seen a penny." Denise pulled out a folder. "We've been tracking him for 2 years. We found 2 other victims, one in Portland, one in San Diego. Same pattern every time. Dates a woman, marries quick, creates a medical emergency involving a family member, gets money, disappears. Your daughter is number 5 that we know of. They gave me copies of everything they had. Police reports, court documents, photos of Michael with other women, other families, other victims. I tried sending it all to Emily. She blocked my email. I tried mailing it. She returned it unopened. I tried going to her apartment. She threatened to call the police. I was out of options. I'd lost my daughter and my money. Michael had won. Then, 3 weeks later, Emily showed up at my door at midnight. She looked like a ghost, thin, pale, shaking. "Mom!" Her voice was barely a whisper. "I need help." I pulled her inside. She collapsed on my couch and cried for 20 minutes straight before she could speak. "He's gone, Michael. He took everything. Our checking, our savings, my engagement ring, the TV, my laptop. I came home from work and the apartment was cleared out. He left a note saying he needed space to figure things out, and he'd contact me soon." That was 5 days ago. His phone goes straight to voicemail. I went to his office. "Mom, there is no office. The address he gave me? It's a UPS store. He rented a mailbox." I held her while she sobbed. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. You tried to tell me. Everyone tried to tell me. But I didn't want to believe it. I loved him. I thought he loved me. How could I be so stupid?" "You're not stupid. You're human. You trusted someone you loved. That's not a character flaw." I checked our bank account. He emptied everything, even my paychecks from the last 2 months. I have $43 in my wallet. That's it. I can't even pay next month's rent. "You'll stay here, for as long as you need." We filed a police report the next morning. The detective was sympathetic but not optimistic. He's careful, uses fake names, moves frequently. Unless we can prove identity theft or trace him to a specific location, it's tough to prosecute. This reads more like a civil case fraud between married partners. "He stole $180,000 from me," I said. "Technically, you gave it voluntarily to your daughter and her husband. The fact that they used it for purposes other than stated doesn't necessarily constitute criminal fraud. I'm sorry, you can pursue civil remedies, but criminal prosecution is unlikely." I connected Denise in Sacramento with our detective. She shared her files. Together, we compiled a list of 5 known victims across 4 states. Total losses, over $600,000. In August, a break came. Michael tried the same scam in Houston, but this time, his victim was a retired FBI agent's mother. The agent took one look at Michael's story and ran a full background check. Found the pattern, alerted Houston PD. Houston PD contacted our detective, coordinated with Nevada authorities where Michael's original fraud conviction had occurred. Turns out, Michael had violated his parole by leaving the state. That made it federal. U.S. Marshals arrested Marcus Caldwell Brennan in Houston in September. Found $127,000 in cash in his apartment, along with fake IDs, burner phones, and detailed notes on current and future targets. Emily divorced him while he was in jail, awaiting trial. The divorce was finalized in November. In January, Marcus pled guilty to wire fraud, money laundering, and parole violation. Sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. As part of the plea deal, he was ordered to make restitution to all identified victims. The court froze his assets. Between what they recovered from his apartment, his car, and his cryptocurrency accounts, we got back $78,000. After legal fees and splitting among 5 families, I received $41,000. Emily got $8,000 from her personal accounts that were recovered. Not nearly what we lost, but something. Emily lives with me now. She's back in therapy, back at work, slowly rebuilding. Some nights I hear her crying in the guest room. Some nights I cry too. But we're together. We're healing. And we're testifying at the sentencing hearing for the parole violation charges in Nevada, where he might get an additional 5 years. The other victims, Denise, Rachel, and the women from Portland and San Diego, we formed a support group. We meet monthly via video call, share resources, healing strategies, warnings about other potential scammers. We've even started a website to help others avoid romance and family fraud scams. Last month, Emily and I planted a garden in my backyard. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs. As we dug in the dirt together, she said, "Mom, I'm sorry I didn't listen. I'm sorry I chose him over you. You weren't choosing him over me. You were trusting your husband. That's what you're supposed to do in a marriage. But you tried to warn me, and you weren't ready to hear it. That's not your fault." Marcus was a professional. He knew exactly how to manipulate, exactly what to say. "You're not stupid for loving someone who seemed to love you back. You're human." She started crying. I pulled her close. "We weren't stupid, Emily. We were human. We loved, we trusted, we tried to help someone. Those are good qualities. Marcus exploited them, but that doesn't make them wrong. I still have my house. Barely. The reverse mortgage balance is now $139,000 with interest, but I'm 62. I've got time to figure it out. Maybe I'll sell eventually, move somewhere smaller. Maybe Emily and I will make this work long term. What I do know is this. I'd rather be a person who trusts and occasionally gets hurt than a person who never trusts at all. I'd rather be someone who helps family in crisis than someone who protects their assets at all costs. Yes, I lost money. Yes, I got scammed. But I didn't lose my humanity. I didn't lose my daughter. And in the end, that's what matters most. If you're reading this, or listening to this story, and you recognize yourself in it, if you've been pressured to give money to a family member, if something feels off but you can't quite name it, if someone is isolating you from people who ask questions, please pause. Ask for help. Get a second opinion. Run a background check. It's not paranoid. It's prudent. Trust, but verify. Love, but protect yourself. Help, but ask questions. Because the people who truly love you will understand your caution. They'll welcome your due diligence. They'll want you to feel secure. The people who pressure you, who rush you, who isolate you from anyone who questions them, those are the people you need to run from. I learned that lesson at a cost of $139,000. I hope sharing my story helps someone else avoid the same mistake. Because we're not stupid. We're human, and that's nothing to be ashamed of.